sergeant in recovery. It was anger and fear. That's all you had. Then you say, I really enjoy my life today. That's big. And you say that you are now, you're the person, and you said, the person who I was meant to be, where the opiates took you away from who you were meant to be. So, in part of the program, it was to be defining the problem and then bringing us around to hope. And if anybody has any questions, we have some blank pieces of paper on the table, right by where Colleen is. By the way, Colleen Whitaker, with our Community Watch Council, has been doing some great volunteer work with the drug take back. And Old Orchard Beach typically is a leader in that, in getting these drugs that could hit the streets or could be used as non-prescription or illicit or whatever, and is taken care of and safely disposed of. Thank you very much for that. And now, the real goal, operational. Chief Robbie Moulton, I was looking over your resume. There were the FBI Academy on 150th, I think it was. You've been chief for a number of years, 17, I believe. Scarborough is a pretty big town right next door to us. A very good friend of mine, Gene O'Neill, is a sergeant in the Marine Force. I want to thank Gene if you're out there. I know you were doing some training tonight, but if you're out there, Gene, thank you for facilitating this. I'm really inspired with what the story of your Project Hope. We've had a number of people, and I think I'll let you speak to that, a number of people from Old Orchard Beach that have gone to Scarborough, walked in to their police department and said, help me. And they've been able to help. Thank you on behalf of this entire community. Chief.
Thank you all very much for being here tonight. I think this is such an important issue that is really heartwarming to have this type of forum and be able to talk a little bit about this issue. I think first and foremost, contacted Steve and they started having conversations about what do we tell people? And Steve, talked to them a lot about what this issue is all about and how it works and how it affects people. And so they came to me. They actually went. These two employees went into Steve's place and sat and talked with him and met some people like Chris who were in recovery. And so when they put together a proposal and they came to talk to me about, can we try to do something? At that point in Scarborough, which we consider ourselves a pretty affluent community, pretty nice community, but we'd like to think we don't have problems. Not true, they're in all communities. And so at that point in 2015, in September, year-to-date numbers, we were showing that we had one death. We had used Narcan 9 times to bring folks back. And obviously our crime rate was fairly high in these types of crimes that were being committed. And so when they went in and talked to Steve, we met with some folks like Chris in recovery. It became clear to them what was possible for folks to be able to do. Chris didn't, nobody decides that, yeah, it would be a great thing to become addicted to heroin. That's not anybody's goal. But unfortunately it happens. And I think we need to see folks for what they are, the potential that they have in recovery, and the articulate, right kind people that they can be. And so when they talked to me about the program, they said, would you go into Moulton recovery and meet with some of these folks? And I probably, like everybody else, had a certain image, and I think the sheriff showed a picture there. I had a certain image of what somebody who's addicted to heroin looks like and what that's about. And so when I went into Moulton recovery and sat down, and Steve, thank you very much, I still appreciate this. Steve said, I told a couple of people that you folks were going to be here, and wondered if you'd mind if they came in while we met and talked about this room, maybe half the size. And so we walked in and sat down, and there were 30 or so people in recovery. Not 2 or 3, 30. And honestly, I didn't know what to expect. These are some folks, when they're active, that we see that are not very nice, that are not very kind. We see them at their worst times. And so I wasn't quite sure what to expect. And it wasn't the most comfortable place for me to sit. And I'm sure it wasn't the most comfortable place for them to sit as we had this discussion. But the more we talked, the more it just struck me what potential there was with these folks, and that we had to find some way to try to provide some help. And Steve had talked to us about the lack of treatment in
runs, kick the chief out of the chair. Andrew K. runs young people in recovery now. I'm the president of OPR, Old People in Recovery. So there is one thing that I wanted to say, Tim. You talked about sounding the alarm. There's another alarm in the sound. There's a law that was passed about prescription, the amount of prescriptions that doctors prescribe that's about to come into play. There are thousands of people in Maine that are getting lots of prescriptions that are not going to be getting them soon. There's going to be a void, and voids typically fill. So I fear another wave coming of newly drug-seeking people who are tolerant to opiates. So what the chief was saying, there is, and I'm so glad Chris is here, because putting a face on recovery I think is so important. That I run the Portland Recovery Community Center, and in 4 years we've grown from 10,000 visits a year to 38,000 visits a year in Portland. There are thousands and thousands of young people that are in recovery, that are going back to school, that are productive, that are working, that are good people. They were good people when they were active. It's just the addiction consumes everything about them. And it's important to remember that it's a horrible time. We're losing many, many folks. But it's important to remember the hope and remember that we do make it. The other thing I wanted to say was, out of the number of people that are coming to the police department, and us only being able to place 210 people, there is a barrier that we have, which is the only placements that we have are free treatment facilities. Facilities that are willing to give a free bed under one condition. And that condition is that that person is not resistant to treatment. But then they're going to have to spend an inordinate amount of time sitting with that person, convincing them that they want to be in recovery. That has to be the person that when they say groups at 8 o'clock, they jump out of bed and say, "Yippee." So there are people that could be placed, and that could have been placed, but the treatment facilities that you make arrangements with, that's not part of the deal. I say that because we need treatment. This is not the solution. It's an amazing thing what's happening in Scarborough, but it's not the solution. The solution is the local treatment. The other issue that the chief talked about was we send people out of state most of the time because that's where the treatment facilities are. Treatment ends, they come back, there's no support system. So we struggle with keeping track of people and trying to connect them when they come back and making sure that they know that there's local supports, but that's a brand new thing that they have to do. If people go to treatment locally, when they're in treatment, they're building that support system. They're going to local meetings, they're meeting local friends, but then when treatment ends, you still have that support system. We all need support. And we're fortunate in Portland, there's a huge recovery community, huge. When you start to get outside the urban area, and there's not so much. So, fostering recovery communities within your smaller communities. Being supportive of people wanting to have groups, being supportive of social functions. NA has sober dances and speaker jams, and giving them an opportunity to have a place to have that happen within the community. The motto, we do a rally for recovery every year in Deer Hills Park, and it's recovering people, recovering communities, because the community has to recover as well. Is that everything? Yes.
twice a year. This is their 6th year that they've done it. They have 2 collections, a spring collection and a fall collection. Of all their 16 counties in the state, in April of 2016, the state took in 15 tons, 30,000 pounds of unused prescription medications. That's just the people that brought back their unused prescription medication. Last Saturday, we did a collection. The end results were 24,000 pounds, or 12 tons. For a small community of Old Orchard Beach, of the 16 take-back locations in Old Orchard Beach came in number 4, with 200, almost 300 pounds of prescription medications brought in last Saturday. That's in conjunction with the BDA. They do the collection, they support the collection, which makes it easier for us to dispose of those medications through the incineration process. Otherwise, it would be too costly. We, at the police department, have a collection, a free collection that's 24/7 that we received under a grant. And since the 6 months, we were able to box 7 large boxes of prescription medications just dropped off at the disposal collection point at our police department in Front Hall. So just a little bit about prescription medication. Bill Patterson, I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but we work very closely with Bill, UNE.
Let me just reiterate one thing that the deputy chief said. That's going on 24/7. You can walk into the lobby of our police department and drop off something. Any day of the year, it's not closed ever. So if you miss the drug take back, because it was last Saturday, you can show up today, tomorrow, and drop off your prescription drugs. I think there's one little caveat: no needles and no illicit substances.
No illicit drugs, no needle. One point of fact that I didn't mention, Maine is #1 per capita in the U.S. for prescription medication take back in weight, every collection.
So the folks who didn't hear that, we are #1 in prescription drug take back, Maine. We're doing some things right. Thank you. Chief.
Well, we're talking about the staggering amounts of drugs. I'd just say that one of the statistics that I heard, I think is just unbelievable, is that in the state of Maine in 2015, there are 100 million oxys prescribed. And if you do the math, John is really good at math, but it's somewhere around 79 pills for every man, woman, and child in the state.
Just one quick thing. In the hospital, since I discharge patients every day, very often moms who have had C-section, they get prescribed oxycodone to take home. We are seeing already the providers being very careful how much they prescribe. So what you were talking about, that we're going to be facing soon, we're facing it now. The prescription amounts, the frequencies are decreasing dramatically. The providers are taking it very seriously. So we're going to be seeing the effects of that right now.
Okay, just for the questions, I know some folks have some questions. We had asked them to write it down, but just so we're clear, the reason we had asked that is so that the folks at home can hear. But if you want to ask your question, I'll just relay your question to the folks. Just that way so we can make sure everyone at home hears the question so they know what they're listening to. So right ahead.
I had use 80. And out of that 40, I must have brought back 25, if not more. My one regret is I didn't count it. So why do they make it so difficult to refill? I think they should prescribe less and refill. There's something to do with the pharmaceutical company. I think so.
Okay, if there's anybody on the panel that would like the sheriff, and the question to the sheriff was, why is it not easier to fill prescriptions so that we prescribe less in the beginning instead of over? You're all set, too.
Yeah, I think you've hit on really the crux of the problem, and you know, Deputy Chief DeLuca did a very good job when he said that we continue to keep collecting massive amounts of unused or unwanted medication. There is a challenge with overprescribing in Maine. I think one of the reasons is that demographically we're one of the older states. We also have a lot of older doctors that are still feeling that we're a very rural state, so oftentimes that they'll prescribe the amounts that you're talking about that are too much, and that when you get done, but it's because they're thinking that you're from a rural area, or they're used to prescribing a lot, so that you don't have to go back. Say if you're from Parsonsfield, it takes you have to go all the way to Waterboro or into South Portland to get your prescription filled. So they're trying to minimize that. But you're right, and that is one thing that has been on our radar, and the medical people are starting to realize that they have to be a little cognizant as far as prescriptions to try to lessen that. Because this is an unbelievable amount. I mean, DeLuca was absolutely right. 24,000 pounds is a lot of unused and unwanted medication to throw away. But that's a very good question for your observation.
In the back.
My name is Kathy Perkins, and I am a counselor in Bedford, and we provide substance abuse and mental health care. I just wanted to share my feelings on the tone of this meeting tonight. I am moved beyond words at how empathetic, how much hope there is in this room. I've been doing this for a long time. We treat, for the most part, opiate dependence or opiate addiction in our agency. And I just feel like everybody in this room sort of gets what we need to get about people with addiction, that, you know, they don't need, you know, they need help and they need structure, but they don't need to be told that they're bad. One of the things that we pride ourselves on in our agency is that people come in, they feel welcome there, they feel like it's a place that they aren't judged. Sort of one of the prerequisites to get a job there, you know, you're gonna, if you sort of have that attitude towards clients, we don't necessarily want you to keep working with us. And I think it goes a long way. And I just, like I said, really moved by the fact that this was such a positive, upbeat, hopeful meeting, because I've been to many meetings around York County, because I work there, I live in Cumberland County. But, so I thank you for that. The other piece I just wanted to mention was, just, you know, when we were talking about, many of our clients are DHHS, reunification with their parents, or many of our clients that have been referred to us from the hospital, either when they're pregnant or when they're going home for treatment for various different things. And just so that you know, the state of Maine, as far as I know, only has 4 beds for women with children. And that's it, Scarborough. 4 beds for women with children. You have to have a child under the age of 3. That is it. So that's some things need to change, and I just really appreciate you for your work and thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I just had a quick question for Chief Moulton. Of the 2
I don't have exact numbers. I can tell you that the vast majority go out of state. I would say maybe out of those 210 speed, less than 10% here in Maine, because there just is no treatment capacity here at all. And as was just mentioned, even the detox is, I think Milestone is turning away 100 people a week, is that the fair number? 100 people a week that are coming for detox and being turned away because there's just no beds available.
And you know, we're closing treatment centers instead of opening.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously legislation has to be the key. Everybody in recovery is trying everything they can, they're trying everything they can, but, you know, we have to be forceful on the state level and say, this has to be done. So our legislators have got to listen. And
That's true, and I think Steve said it best, you know, we can send people away for treatment and so forth, but then they came back to a whole different environment and building those support systems. We need treatment right here in the state of Maine, and we desperately need it. And, you know, one of the things that always comes up when people talk about that is, they ask the question, well, where's the money gonna come from for this? I would submit to you that we're already paying dearly for that. When the rescue is going out many times a day to pick up folks who have overdosed or had issues or whatever, I would say the vast majority of those people are uninsured, don't have any means of paying, so the city of Bedford is paying for that through their taxes to have that rescue. Then that person may or may not go to the hospital where they stay, and the hospital isn't being paid. So we're paying that as taxpayers and in our insurance. And then, you know, when they go to Walmart or wherever they go and shoplift and so forth, we're paying for that for the price of goods because they're making up for that shrinkage. So it may not all be in one basket, but we're paying dearly for that all the way around. And we're putting them into jail with the sheriff, and that's costing, I don't know what $108 a day. So we're paying for that when they're in jail, and then they come out of jail, and the cycle starts all over again with one individual. And I haven't done this yet, but I think I should take an average situation and take how many times somebody's been in jail, how many times they've been in the rescue, how many times they've been in the hospital, and cost that out. And I think we would very quickly find that getting them treatment here in the state of Maine, you know, maybe doing that once, and some are going to relapse, maybe a couple of times, but it's still going to be much more cost effective than what we're doing right now. So I truly think that we're already paying the price.
Well, then I'll get to you, Tim. When we had our conversation, one of the things you said, and it wasn't, you didn't go to your crime stats, but your gut feeling was that about 80% of the thefts, property crimes, that had to do with
talked about a lot of getting to recovery. My goal is to keep them alive, to get them there. Okay, the vessel means, and I talked about that. Everything I talked about was all calls I've been on. Okay, people who die because they're wrong. Call it Tim's Safe Spot. Make little glass bus stops, we put them on a fire station, police station, or where they can use. Because some people, like you said, they're not ready yet. They're not ready to admit their problem. They're not ready to react. We have to make the means available to these people to use safely. If they're going to overdose, we can bring them back. The people that we bring back didn't want to die. They didn't use that day planning on dying. But they are because they're using it alone. Like he said, they're in a really bad place. They're alone. We need to educate the users to go to a place where they can use, where someone's going to see them collapse. We can bring them back. Most cases, overdoses are reversible. We bring them back. 9 out of 10 times we bring them back. It's the ones that were alone, there's nothing that we can do with them.
Just a quick note to carry what Tim was just talking about. If you look up what the Swiss government is doing about heroin addiction, I think you'd all be incredibly surprised. They've opened clinics where they offer people pure heroin. And if you look, I'm not going to go carry on about the whole thing, but if you look, there's actually reductions in crime, in deaths, and in usage. So the Swiss government has actually taken a step further, and exactly what your point was, to have places for people to use so they don't die. First of all, they're getting pure heroin. The junk that's on the street is physically brown. You can see it. It's not good heroin. That's why people are dying also. So I think if you guys want to look it up, it's something worth reading. They started it in 1999, I believe, and it's carried on today. And the number of users are getting reduced, and crimes and everything else that follows along with the use of heroin on the street, they're having it as a clinical, rather than an addiction, it's actually a cure. It's very radical. You have to read the whole article. It sounds crazy, but apparently it's working.
Well, to your comment, it would be interesting to see how they actually, for some treatment. I'm just curious about that myself.
They actually get people on the program. You have to qualify for the program, and you go and get your shots just like we give methadone and other things to addicts. It's the same thing, except it's pure. It's done in a clinical safe place, and the studies have showed that it's reducing the actual use, because what they do is they wean you off it. It's very worth the read. You can look it up on the internet, just type in Swiss government heroin program.